How do you know if you are ready for a relationship? How do you know? I find a lot of younger generation people jump into relationships so damn quick. They be so ready to cuff that person. They be so ready to be possessive over that person. So I'm reading this one book, right? It's called Wholeness. Wholeness. Not holdness. Wholeness. Like I'm whole. Like a whole egg. Yeah, it's called Wholeness. You feel me? And I'm learning a great deal of information in this book. I'm learning that in order for you to be ready for a relationship, you first have to be whole yourself. Oh, I'm about to get into it. Man, y'all better stay tuned throughout this video, because these are going to be some gems that I'm about to drop. I'm about to help you flourish in your next relationship with somebody else and yourself. So please, for your own sake, pay close attention. So listen, when we tend to get in relationships, we tend to attract parts of ourselves in that other person. If I have anger issues, I'm gonna attract somebody who's angry, who has anger outbursts, because that's a part of my personality. So in order for me to attract somebody more healthier, I must heal that anger inside of me first, and then that person who doesn't have an anger issue will come to you, because you learned that lesson about your experience. So let me tell you something about a relationship. Relationships are a mirror for you. You know when there's conflict or friction in a relationship, that is a good thing. If it's healthy, of course, that's a good thing. Don't get drowned into the conflict. It's not you versus the other person. It's always y'all two versus that problem. It's always y'all two versus jealousy. Y'all two versus anger. Y'all two versus insecurity. It's never y'all two against each other. That's how you know true love. That's how you know if it's true love. If y'all two, it's a partnership. Remember, it's always a partnership. If y'all two are attacking or resolving that conflict, y'all on the right path. Understand that when you get into relationships, because when one broken person get into a relationship with another broken person, you're both broken. Y'all are seeing each other through a broken lens. It's like y'all have glasses on, but the lens are broken. So you're up here, conforming and cherishing this relationship, and you're not acknowledging the brokenness that each individual have. Because if that brokenness continues to persist, it's going to be trouble down the road in that relationship. Somebody going to end up cheating. Somebody going to end up lying. Somebody going to be feeling insecure, and the other person not even going to know. It's a lot of unhealthy cracks that can leak through a relationship if y'all don't address each other's trauma. Oh, that's a word. That's a word. I'm preaching to the choir. You feel me? I'm helping y'all. So, understand and acknowledge individually first that you have brokenness inside of you. You have trauma inside of you. Everybody does. No matter how much meditation you do, no matter how much healing you do, you always want to have that brokenness inside of you. And then your partner always going to have that as well. But it's a partnership, so they're there to help you, and you're there to help them. And y'all help each other ascend and grow. And that's when success will come. That's when financial blessings will come. Build that relationship with God, with the universe, and watch how the blessings just swirl around you. So I wrote some notes down, and I'm about to tell you. I'm gonna say 3. I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm about to give you 3 tips to optimize your relationships, your intimate ones, your personal ones, the ones with your family members. Here we are, 3 tips. 1 is always think the highest thought. You know how sometimes when let's say our significant other go out somewhere, and we always think, I wonder where they're going. I wonder who they're texting on their phone. I wonder if they're doing this. I wonder if they're doing that. You're thinking the lowest thought about that person. Train your psyche, train your conscious to always think the highest thought about that person. And you can start little by little individually. For example, if you're driving on the highway and somebody cuts you off, don't automatically assume that person is an asshole. Although that very well might be the case, don't automatically go to that low thought. Choose the highest thought. Convince yourself to be like, maybe he's in a hurry because somebody's in the hospital. Maybe he's late to work. Maybe he doesn't know any better. Whatever you have to do to convince your conscious to think the highest thought, think that highest thought. And then you will begin to look at the best in everybody you interact with. You'll begin to look at the best. You won't think nobody is trying to play you, or you won't really be suspicious of you won't be suspicious about your friendships or your relationships, because you're always going to think the highest thought about other people. Even if you're wrong, they're going to show their true colors regardless. But for your sake, for your peace, for your sanity, think the highest thought. Be honest. This is This is one that's kind of upfront, like, and obvious. But it's so hard to do sometimes. I even struggle with being honest. I be telling white lies here and there just to put some, some icing over the cake. I don't be wanting to fully be vulnerable. That's another thing. Vulnerability and honesty are two things that just, it's like a matching puzzle piece. When you're honest with somebody, you're vulnerable with them. If you're vulnerable with them, you're able to be honest with them, and that's when you can really just grow. Like, that's when you really just take levels and grow. When you're honest with that person and you're vulnerable with that person. Always be honest though in your relationships. Even if the truth may sting them a little bit, always be honest, because I know you're gonna want the honest truth all the time as well. Always be honest. Always respect that honest truth as well. Even if they say something that stings, take time, breathe, allow it to resonate. Do what you need to do to respond in a positive way. Because honesty is so important. I sound like a relationship guru. That's not even the case. And another one is pursue empathy. Always remember empathy. Empathy is basically putting yourself in the other person's shoe. Putting yourself in the other person's shoe. So if a person is jealous because somebody was trying to talk to you at the gym, put yourself in that other person's shoe. How would you feel if that situation was upon you? You feel me? How would you feel if a similar situation was reflected on you? If they lashing out, understand why they're lashing out. Sit with them and be on some, I understand that may made you upset. Why did you have to lash out? Watch your tone of voice, watch your body language, make eye contact, connect with that person. If you really fuck with that person, you're gonna connect with them. You're gonna try to get to the root of the problem. You're not gonna try to attack that person. So always pursue empathy in your relationships. Always put yourself in the other person's shoes if you're able to. Even if you don't know them. If the association is loose, if you don't truly know them, still always trying to pursue empathy. Because everybody has their own intentions for doing things and why they do things. Why they do the things they do. They have their own intentions. So yeah, think the highest thought, be honest, and pursue empathy are my 3 tips for prosperous relationships. You won't regret it. You're welcome in advance. Feel me?